Welcome to Tarkiln Bayou State Preserve. Tarkiln Bayou is a preserve of over 4,000 acres, and it contains some rare and endangered plant species, including the pitcher plant. Today, I hope to see some of these plant species, as well as many of the other animals and birds and reptiles and amphibians that you can find in this park. To get started, let's suit up. Tarkiln Bayou is a preserve of over 4,000 acres. There are many rare and endangered plant species here, and hopefully we can see some of these. We're also hoping to see some of the rare birds and reptile and amphibians in the park as well. Let's go see if we can find some. These are the pine flatwoods right around Tarkiln Bayou Preserve State Park. It's dominated by the pine trees and the shrubbery and the low-lying cycads there. When it gets closer to the bay and around the water, it gets a little more shrubby, but for the most part it looks like this, just all pine trees standing up, uniform, and fairly plain. There's quite a bit of wildlife here. Mostly deer tracks is what we've been seeing, but there's also some sign of wild pigs in the park. Here at Tarkiln Bayou, it looks like the tide is just coming in. There's some sea life out there. I noticed a shorebird of some kind swimming around out in the bay, and there was a belted kingfisher hovering over the water over here looking for fish. So should be a good day. We should see a lot of wildlife. We just saw a frog jump into this pond. I'm not sure what species it is yet, but if I can catch it, we'll be able to identify it. Oh, there he is. It is a cricket frog. On the top of his head, you can see this little triangle. That's how you identify it as a cricket frog. They call it a cricket frog because his voice is really chirpy, almost just like a cricket. So we're looking at slash pine. It's the common pine in these pine flatwoods forests. And I just found some pollen cones. These are the male cones of the tree. They release the pollen into the air and it floats around until it comes in contact with one of these. And this is the female cone. This is what you would typically think of when you think of a pine cone, but it's strictly female. It's just the seeds in here. When she is ready and she falls off the tree, she opens up and all the seeds fall right out, and attached to them are these little pieces of flexible tissue, and that's attached to the seed so that as the seed falls, it'll spiral down and land in a new place that hopefully will be suitable to growing a new tree. It's been a successful hike so far. We've seen a cricket frog, we have seen some deer tracks, we've seen a kingfisher, and lots of other wildlife. Now we're going to try a new technique that naturalists use to find the invertebrate sort by overturning logs. I thought I saw one of these. Come look at this grasshopper. So this is a stick grasshopper. Really long and thin, just like a stick. Amazing camouflage. If you look down the side of him here, he has a kind of white line that breaks up his body so that he's almost invisible to predators. If we look at him on the grass, you'll be able to see just how well he blends in. I just saw a green anole run underneath this old tire, and I'm gonna see if I can catch him. They call them green anoles, but they're not always green. This one's brown, and that's because he's cold. When they're cold, they turn darker colors, which absorbs the sunlight better. But this guy here, he's getting a little lighter now, and that's based on mood change, not temperature change. They become brighter colors when they're aggravated and angry. And this guy's pretty upset that I caught him. So although there's no bird in here, there are a lot of birds in this park. We've been seeing big flocks of robins coming through because it's February. We saw some eastern bluebirds migrating. It seems to be a great place to move through during the migration across the Gulf of Mexico, up through Mexico, and spend some time before they go further north right here. We've also seen kingfishers out on the ocean there, and we've seen some turkey vultures flying overhead. And I'm sure there's a lot more birds as well. Well, this has been a great experience at Tarkiln Bayou State Park. I encourage everyone to go out and enjoy their state parks. Get out in nature. It's a great place to enjoy wildlife from a trail without disturbing things, and you can bring your family, easy access. Definitely support your state parks. We saw a lot of really neat things today. We saw various bird species from kingfishers to vultures and towies. We saw interesting cold-blooded animals like cricket frogs, leopard frogs, and anole lizards. But there's a whole lot more that you can see out there. You just have to go to your own state park. And believe me, it's a lot more special actually being there.